you has been given significance. And so have the words of God. There's a strong connection to the words and words and founding fathers, foundations, and the smelting going on. You have an equation with those who teach to flit away and those who teach to flit with the ostrich and the owl, the dragon. And we want to go think about it for reading Job 4 and Job 6. They're just continually picking at Job, who found himself in a trial. And he just calls them cruel teachers. That he has found himself in the company of dragons and owls. The words that we get for owls are the entrapment of a yard or troops that may surround you, and the answer and call back of being trapped, one trapped in judgment. So the founding fathers, then he reminds us, I believe that's in Job, that the foundations of man were not more righteous than God. The foundations of man, our founding fathers, lead to dust. And there you have, again, this elitism that traces back to the worship of the stars, of the giants, and those things dead that are called the dead. Those foundations end up revealing themselves as their worship of their dead. Actually, today even, you will find preachers that go out and lay on the graves. And that comes from this idol worship that came along with our Judeo history. And when they turned to mysticism and these old ways of the ancients, they were actually worshiping the dead in that respect for origins. And this would be the following of Cain. This would be the teachings of worshiping these esoteric beings that may seem to indicate things, other beings such as the green man being involved, shape-shifting of the elements that one puzzles at when you see temples that we couldn't construct today. But it equates to a patriotism that God really didn't want. He wasn't after an earthly king, and he told them that right off the bat. But that we continue to mistake God and the patriotisms of our founding fathers, and we're actually worshiping foundations of dust when he declares he is the beginning and Jesus is that foundation for us. Where the bird of prey and the vultures at their worship, also monolithic worship at the foot of the hill of these sites would be there of the dead. That you have the cave that they're crawling into, supposedly the womb of these dead gods in just a normal cave from the first destruction of God mentioned in the Bible, and then you have a further destruction of the flood that turns these beings into just spirits. So that by the time that the Jews are spreading bones of the priests and kings, and they're calling on the spirits of their forefathers to be joined with these other forefathers that are the wrong forefathers, and their father is the father of Cain, who taught these things in celestial worship, celestial teachings. Actually, good teachings. It's not that it's wrong to study the stars or to have sciences, but along with that came a control and a capping of the education system and facilitating other nations by these teachings and not teaching them others as bits and pieces of bread they would get. So you have a lot of fragment references in the word that are really this lure to withhold certain secret teachings of mysticisms and things like that that are not all our heritage with God, but are of worshiping the dead and force and worshiping the world, riches, and military force. So it starts there in Job that he equates these things, and the reference of the owl. Here's a quote out of it, that he talks about the munitions of rocks. And that would be that when we do this correctly, these rocks, these faiths, this monolith, that as in comparison to what Cain does, it uses faith to put other civic societies in bounds to them and market and profits off of them. But that when you follow and you do what God wants you to do, you're risen above that, and your munition by doing the right thing, knowing the right thing, and having an anchor in these teachings yourself to live it out is your munitions of rocks. Being the teaching rather than using the teaching to persuade and have someone else under your following, under your control. Now, as far as being ahead and having someone under you, mentoring and helping is the idea. But with Cain, it always has this killing of whoever is the one triumphant, who is the one favored by God. Cain kills. So that if you want to be the leader, you just kill the leader. And this is not God's way, but it is the way of the world. And the message maybe is a lot complicated, but it's because you can pick up value systems and how to respond to the world by untying these knots in the words, but it doesn't get more simple than love thy neighbor. And don't kill it. Don't be happy when things go wrong for him, and don't lay awake at night trying to figure out how to outdo him or win an argument. But that the owl is that when association in this way is a big team of a secret society, whether it's knights and spies, which is where it comes from, that type of teaching, to surround and keep an eye out for people that actually dissent and that would be coming to pick off your society or come in and spy you out as a nation to make away with things. Thanks. You're significant.